yesterday, a two-bit expose of the same old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged. You know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, and cross its way under your skin. Just got found from the things they spout, and it won't make you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit. That good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Welcome into the grounds with Giles and Jones. I'm Jones. He's not Giles.
Not Giles.
Steve.
I'm Steve.
He's back again. We love this guy. So maybe it's Giles Jones Schlegel now.
That sounds horrible. That has no alliteration. You keep it
Doesn't
the way it is.
flow real well.
No, it doesn't sound good in the mouth.
That's it. Hey, listen, this is the most unique show here, 216 Creator Studios. Uncle Pete's up there on your screen. Just go ahead, copy that, HTTPS, put it in your URL, your URL, and come aboard. You can be part of this show where we talk about anything from politics to peanut butter, but no politics. Again, we want to shout out to our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. They support the entire 216 Creator Studios, have from day one. They are awesome. Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com, 815-385-8190. Behind me, you're going to see pop up our good friends over at JH Events and Flowers. Yes, JH Events and Flowers. $5 Friday today. So stop in, get a $5 bouquet of flowers. Remember, Mother's Day is right around the corner. Start getting the flowers now. Order now. Get things ready, because nothing says you haven't thought of your mom more than a bouquet of flowers.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Today we are chatting about how did you get to where you're at? How did you get to where you're at? Drew, good morning. Glad to have you with us, brother. How'd you get to where you're at? We met this week, and we were chit-chatting and putting some things together. And the question that you hear a lot is, how did you get here? How did you get to where you're at?
Absolutely.
Give me a little bit of, and our listeners, just a little bit of what's behind that.
So, anytime you're trying a new endeavor, you got to look at people who are in a certain spot in their lives.
Yeah.
And I realize, in some areas I am at that spot in my life. I'm ready to take the next step professionally and move forward.
Yeah.
And then it's looking back on all the things that led you to where you are, all the decisions that you've made, all the jobs that you've worked, the people you've met, and getting you to where you are. And, trying to learn from this guy, trying to learn from Scott.
Oh no, that's good. You're a therapist, so thank you for hanging out with Scott and I.
He's already got a lot to say about it.
That's it. It's interesting when we talk about, how'd you get to where you're at, whether it is your lot in life, whether it's, we'll take a look at Drew. I'll pick on Drew a little bit. Drew, the Southside Chi-Italian, and his wife, he outkicked his coverage there. So a lot of people ask him, woo, how'd you get to where you're at? He's a good salesman, obviously, or she's blind. I'm not sure which one. Hey, Shayna, good morning. No, I kid, but there is that, as you look back, hindsight's 2020. There is that you look back and you can see, that's where that twisted. I went here. I always say that life is a game of chutes and ladders, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we played it as kids, and chutes and ladders, sue me or send me a check. Either one, doesn't matter. But there are times where we're just plodding along one punch at a time, and then there's times where we find a shortcut and good things happen, and then there's times after those good things happen that down the slide you go. And as you look back, if you stop and take a moment and look back, you go, oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
Right. Doesn't mean that it's right. It's just that you go, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. Helps you understand a little bit.
But people ask me, and what I tell my kids, what I tell friends, what I tell other entrepreneurs is like, you can't stop running after your dream. You can't stop chasing, right?
Yeah.
It gives you purpose in life. It gives you whatever. And if you just keep running, you might run in. I don't think you ever catch a dream, but you might just run into one.
I think one of the truest adages is it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
It's about what you learn along the way. It's about how you grow as a person along the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, as long as you love something and you've got a goal, there's nothing wrong with chasing that goal for the rest of your life. If you don't ever get there, you've attained a lot more than you ever thought you would, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether that's a personal business, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And, kind of thinking about this, I take a look at, very grateful after we met early this week and we talked about this, kind of taking a look at, okay, where am I?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm still on a wild ride, but where am I? And I go, man, I'm blessed.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm absolutely blessed. Well, let's take a look at this. DDoE, fantastic news with monoclonal antibodies and cancer. And good morning. Well, lay it out there because this is where we're at. No, all good. And nope, send it out to us because I don't know what you're talking about. So that's cool. So anyway, a lot of, I take a look. I got a beautiful house. I've got 2 cars. I've got 2 dogs. I've got, I don't necessarily have a bed of money that I sleep on, or the vault of coins that Scrooge McDuck has.
Absolutely.
Right. But I've got we're healthy. We're good things are happening with my family and friends. We've got food on the table. We've got food in the cabinet. Yeah. You know what I mean? I start taking a look at it and go, all right, is this the mansion with 4 sports car poster that I had when I was 14, because that's the way life is in America? Yeah. And that's success? Absolutely not. Is it better? Absolutely.
100%.
Right.
And it's been a recurring theme over the last few weeks, keeps popping up in a lot of different areas. It's gratitude. Yeah. Gratitude for what you have, and how a lot of people don't think back on it. But you can't help but to look back, see what got you where you are, and feel. And if you don't feel a little bit of gratitude, maybe you're not in a great spot. Maybe you need to change some things up, or just change your perspective up.
Yeah.
Because and you've had a lot to be grateful for, just even in the past couple of weeks here.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of shit that I've gone through. I mean, not everybody, and not every, my wife is an incredible woman. Not everybody would pack all your shit up in a U-Haul truck with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and go, all right, we're going to Illinois to start a coffee shop. We got a place to live? No. All I know is that we sold our house. We can't live in it anymore. Right. So we're putting everything in a U-Haul and rolling out. Oh, hey, mom and dad, can you watch the cat? You know what I mean? And that wild adventure, wow, was there a lot of mistakes? Absolutely a ton of mistakes there, right? But then again, I look back at it and go, man, if I didn't fall down and get those scars, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be in the position I am today.
And those are the shoots.
Yeah, those are the shoots, right?
Gets you to the letters.
Yeah. And it's, it's tough. I mean, it's tough when you're going through it, or when you fall down and you scrape your knee. But then when you look back, or you're sitting there and you cross your legs, you see that scar and go, oh yeah. Hey, Bob, how are you? Let's just see what Mr. Giles has to say. I often wonder where or who I would be if I had turned left instead of right at any point in my life. How is it typical for people to sit there and play the what if game? Right.
I think it is typical.
Yeah.
It's typical. Everyone does it. It's just a matter of learning not to dwell on things. There's the good and the bad of it. It's what if I had done something differently? How can I learn from it?
Yeah.
And what if I had done something differently? I'm going to dwell on that until I make myself crazy. Which I don't think that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
But there is a fine line there.
There is. Netflix says you create an alternate universe when you do the what if. When you do the what if game.
Any Doctor Who fans in the house?
I'm not.
No. All right.
I've never seen an episode.
It's a whole episode literally called Turn Left.
Yeah.
Cool. It's about an alternate universe created because of exactly that. So that's that's extremely on point.
It's well, yeah, I'm the guy. I've never seen one episode. I also never saw one episode of Thorn Crown Game
of Thrones.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I never saw an
not,
episode.
Not that I dislike it. I'm not a fan. Is that I've never seen it.
Right, but Sopranos, I'm starting to watch again. So
absolutely,
I love the Sopranos.
Yeah, just stop.
Makes more
you get
sense
to the last
now,
episode.
So many years afterwards. Makes more sense. Anyway, I don't, to be honest with you, sit and play the what if game.
Yeah.
You'll see on the whiteboard, and I pointed it out, right, is, rules for success in my life is get better every single day. Prove them wrong, right? Work on your weaknesses. Execute what you practice. Yeah. And, learn from greatness. Learn from wins and losses. Practice mindfulness, be patient, believe in your team. So I try to practice mindfulness so much that I'm here.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to be in this day. I want to be in this moment. And I've really focused and studied and learned how to be Zen. Yeah. Right. I don't have a lot of stress because I don't get over, right? So case in point, Lisa does say there's a difference between thought and obsessing. Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
And she phrased it better than me. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
So case in point is, I can't use that. It's not public. I can't use that example. So we'll just move on. Here's what I say is, the first time you ride a roller coaster, you don't know if you're excited, scared. You don't know what to expect because you've never ridden a roller coaster.
Absolutely.
Right? You hear people screaming, so you have some anticipation.
Yeah.
And you might, get, butterflies, right? Some people call that anxiety. But then you go on the roller coaster and you experience it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of know what to expect. So if you liked it, you're very, very excited for the next roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
If you didn't like it, you are not really excited for the next roller coaster ride and may not even take one.
Right.
So in my life, people are like, hey, if there's something, hey, are you excited to be the head coach of the MCC Scots? And I go, I don't know. I don't. I'm very humbled and blessed and honored, and it's a heavy weight for me, right? Because I've never been a college head coach, so I don't know if I'm excited. I don't know if I'm scared. I don't know if I'm, you know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah.
Because I haven't experienced yet, and when you're being mindful, I'm trying to understand the feelings I have right now.
Yeah. And you're experiencing a roller coaster of emotion.
Exactly. But what I do, so if we talk about, how did you get to where you're at, is I just keep running, right? I'm going to try to pick up as much as I can. And while I'm on this blue marble this time and running this timeline, I just got to keep running, right? Run, Forrest, right? And
100%.
Maybe I'll run into one of my dreams. Maybe I'll run into something different, way different. I don't know, right? Because if you'd have asked me when I was 18, getting out of high school, what would it look like when you're 55? It didn't look anything like this.
Okay.
Right.
What did it look like?
I was probably retired at 40, a multimillionaire after playing years and years and years of NBA. NBA basketball.
Yeah, independently wealthy for a living.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Shayna says, Kent. So that's directed to me. You would appreciate the frustration Doctor Who has being the smartest guy in the room and a resulting sarcasm he uses to cope. I'm going to have to check it out.
I was going to see you would enjoy it.
I would appreciate it. Now, I have never been the smartest guy in the room. Sarcasm, I'm all about. The only time that I was, I wasn't even the smartest man in the room then. So I was going to say when I was, when my kids were born, that's the first thing I told them. I grabbed them in my arm. I looked at them and I said, I'm your dad. I'm the smartest man in the world and I'm never wrong. You got to plant those seeds early.
You do. You got to let them know.
Yeah.
Yeah. For years and years of you just whooping them at everything, board games, sports. I mean, you got to set that expectation.
Yeah. So now when they're a little bit older, they want to go, that's full of shit. But then they remember what I planted in their subconscious brain minutes after they came out of the womb. Was that, and somewhere they're like, he's way wrong, but I still think he's the smartest man in the world, and he's never wrong for some reason.
I think they would have thought that even if you hadn't planted the seeds.
My kids are way smarter than me. There's that's why I had to plant that early, Steve.
Yeah, well, you just go stand in an empty room. You got to feel that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Hey, now I'm the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
The room is empty.
Yeah, remember the moment you figured that out with your own father. My dad's still the smartest. I mean, I look up to my dad all the time. Still.
For me, it's my mom. My mom is the smartest person I know.
My mom is awesome as well, but yeah, a lot like my dad, weirdly enough. But anywho, but yeah, good. I don't take a lot of time to look back to answer that question. I don't take a ton of time, Steve, to look back to go, how did I get here? Because I'm not at my final stop.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And so you got to keep moving forward. It's they've been trying to teach that in Disney movies now for a while. They had Meet the Robinsons, the whole slogan of the movie, keep moving forward. Yeah. You fail, awesome. You failed so well. You did such a great job failing. Now move forward.
Right.
Keep going. Yeah. Even was the
Dory, right?
Yeah. Keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yeah. And no, that doesn't inflate my ego, Lisa. It takes a lot. I don't have a big ego. I'm just always the best. That's all. I always spin sixes on the game of Chutes and Ladders.
The smartest and the most humble.
That's right.
You never saw somebody so humble.
Lisa says, I think the reflection can be good as long as it's not obsession. It can reflect on how far you have come, as well as reminders of roads you don't wish to take again.
Yeah.
So explain to me when it becomes obsession. Is it the 10th minute that I'm thinking of it? Is it the 10th hour, the 10th day, the 10th month? When does it become obsession?
As soon as you stop learning from it and instead are despairing from it, I think is where that line is.
So the guy, the high school quarterback that never gets out of town, he still sits at the same bar, talks about the glory days. That's a little bit of obsession.
Yeah, I would say so.
While he lives in a van down by the river.
Van down by the river, absolutely. But yeah, if you never move forward from it, and I can't think of what is that Varsity Blues? He drops the kick, or he drops the catch.
Oh yeah, I don't. Laces out, Dan.
I can't remember what it is, but just replaying it over and over and over and over in his mind, and just not being able to move forward from it ruined his entire football career. I can't remember what movie that is, but
that happens a lot with athletes. You see that,
right? And and then I had just seen something recently. The kickoff. He was supposed to do the kickoff return. Went like this. Went right through the cradle. Right. He picks it up and runs. Gets a touchdown. Because he didn't stop. He didn't hesitate for a moment. Right. He was like, there's the ball, kept focused.
Let's go.
Grab the ball, kickoff return from end zone to end zone. And he didn't let it get to him.
Yeah.
But if you are that guy, you're just sitting in a diner, 60 years old. You got your high school tassel around your neck or on the the rear view mirror of your car, and you're like, that year was the best year of my whole life. It was like, well, you got to keep looking forward,
Yeah. And when you think every breath stress rather than flowing through the phases. Yeah, okay, that's when it does. And our good friend Shane says, obtrusive thoughts of any kind, good or bad, point to an imbalance of some kind. Obtrusive. Yeah, I think so. I think we as people, again, tend to drag a big anchor.
100%.
Right. Sometimes the anchor can be addiction. Sometimes it can be a person. Sometimes it can be, a habit. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes it could be a mental thought. But I think, once I don't think we ever realize that we're dragging that big anchor.
So question for you then.
Yeah.
So the topic of the day is, how did we get where we are?
Yeah.
How did you get here? Right. How and when did you discover to be so zen? You said it earlier. You've got this sense of zen. You are all right with the world as it is. You are okay with the way things have played out.
Yeah.
You don't reflect back very often. You always move forward. Now, that is a mindset that can be learned, but I tell you what, most people never find that in their lives. I like to think that I have some semblance of that, but no, I mean,
it's a daily battle. So in, a lot of it, I don't even know. I just, I love learning about the life of Jesus, right? And he's a pretty zen dude. When you really look at it, he was like,
yeah,
I know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm not sweating about that. I'm here today, right now, handling this situation. And Buddha, I mean, there's so many, but the art of mindfulness is Lisa has helped me tremendously. With, why am I thinking that right now?
Yeah.
Why are my nerves starting to jumble about something, right? Where did I get that? Who told me that, right? This is one of the best things Lisa ever said to me. It's like, when you hear that voice in your head, who told me that? Whose voice am I hearing right now? Right.
Oh.
And when you ask yeah, right.
Interesting.
It is. And
that's good.
And, a lot of it is, here's what I'll say. When we started this back in 2018, DDOE, Daily Dose of Encouragement Enterprises, Inc. When we started this back in 2018, I got to sit behind the desk and be present in these shows, right, with these brilliant people and then their content, the way their minds think, from the crazies of the crazies to the incredibly, what people would look at and go, wow, you're awesome. You've written 2 books. You know what I mean? That's probably when I started really learning and understanding, hey, don't worry about the next show. Don't worry about what's happening at the bank. I got to focus right? I got to focus here now. But Lisa, it was on one of her shows and it was really, she's like, well, who told you that? I'm like, what? Right? Whose voice are you hearing right now?
Yeah.
So that brings me really back to, when I start to get anxious or when I start to worry or be depressed or whatever, it's like, why? Who's telling you this? Right.
Yeah.
And then it kind of centers me and brings me back to right now.
Yeah.
Because now I have to go, why am I? That's interesting. Right. Where a lot of times when I wouldn't ask myself that, it would be, this reason. Right. And she doesn't even know that. So Lisa, I'm not doing that to, stroke your ego or whatever it is that I may be stroking at this moment. But that's the blessing, and to Did I understand having two partners that passed away, Rancher Ron from liver cancer and Uncle Pete from COVID, is that, whoa, life ain't guaranteed, right? Yeah. Because in all honesty, I would still, nothing personal to anybody, I'd still love to have Uncle Pete over there behind that red microphone, giving his 2 cents and saying, well, hey, my fuck bucket's empty. I got no more fucks to give, right? In his silky smooth voice, right? Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, there are times where I'm at, is there are times that, listen, I've got these two great men archived. There are times when I'll go back and just listen to an Uncle Pete in the morning, and sit there and go, fuck. Right. There are times when I'll go back and listen to, I've separated them all out from all the two bald guys on the microphone, East Texas Wisdom with Rancher Ron. Yeah. And it's like you're sitting on his front porch and he's talking to you. Right. And I'm blessed to be able to do that. Right now, is that Zen? No, because sometimes that takes me back to, man, I wish they were still here. I wish this was amazing. Right. Yeah. But as I say now, with the internet and this being out there, my great grandchildren go, hey, my great grandfather was a douche, or this guy was fucking crazy. Yeah. And now I know I'm like why I am, right? And that's what he sounded like, So I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. And Lisa says, if I got stroked, I would probably be less scrappy. Hey, oh. Zing. Right. And Pete was often my inspiration on Sunday mornings. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Right. But the best thing is, go to our YouTube and just look up Uncle Pete in the morning. And he was brilliant at what he did. He had a heart the size of this earth. And at the same time, if you stepped inside of 40 feet of him, you were in his personal space, and he'd tell you to take a step back because he hated people as much as he loved them. Right. So that's truly when I started understanding about truly being mindful or present. Yeah. And probably back in 2016, I work on it all the time. And it is, you're like, wait, why am I hearing that voice? Or why do I think that? Yeah. Right. I had a friend who called and goes, hey man, what's your game plan? Is this just a quick thing at the college or whatever? And I go, listen, I said, when I retire in 15 to 20 years, I want them to name the floor after me. I want it to be Kent Jones Gym. Yeah. Right. I want to leave a legacy with all these young women and student athletes that, in 15 years, they all come back and because they're naming the gym or the gym floor after me. Yeah. Right. And some people are like, man, that's an ego stroke. I go, maybe, but you know what? That means I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. I'm in this to build a tradition. I'm in this to build, to work with MCC and make MCC an incredible, more incredible facility, right?
Well, and ego aside, I mean, everyone wants a legacy, and we just talked about how you need a goal to work toward. That's a great goal to work toward, because if they name the gym after you, these women come back all these years later and see you. It means that you made a positive impact, and nobody can argue with that. Or maybe their first pick in the WNBA draft, and they're just like, Mr. Jones.
That's it. KJ. So you're how old?
I'm 35 right now.
35. So how'd you get to where you're at?
How did I get to where I'm at?
Are you happy with where you're at? Or
I'm always happy where I'm at. Even when things aren't great, I'm always happy where I'm at. I'm just grateful to be here. Grateful to be alive, grateful to have my health and the people around me that I love. And I think, a big part of that for me is just when you go through hardship, you do have two choices. You can either buckle or you can move forward. And then everything moving forward just isn't that bad. It's a perspective, when you're a kid and everything is bright and shiny and you're moving out into the world, and you have no idea of what things are going to be like, how rough life can get. I think that fear holds you back a lot. Yeah. I've lived in a horrible apartment I couldn't afford, and I've had these hardships. I've been laid off at the worst possible times. I've had deaths of people close to me, and where I'm at now is fantastic comparatively. I don't have anything to worry about, and those experiences kind of really put things into perspective for you. Then professionally, I picked one thing that I really enjoyed, and I've been doing it my whole life. So that's, working bars, restaurants.
Yeah.
I've done a bunch of other things, so that's how I know what I enjoy.
Yeah, you're passionate about it. Yeah.
I've diversified. I can't even think of the show, but I've had every odd job under the sun. I really have. I've worked in a chiropractor's office doing the wellness checks. I've taught swimming at Harper College. Did that for a while. If you name it.
Were you the guy in the Speedo? I mean, did you Speedo up?
I mean, I'm not going to confirm or deny it. You can look up pictures.
Yes, but that had nothing to do with teaching swimming.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was wearing a Speedo, but my English teacher did not like that very much. But no, I've done a million different jobs, and aside from teaching swimming, which I loved tremendously, I found my niche. I found something that I can go to, that I'm good at, that I love doing, and that allows me to stay a member of my community.
Yeah.
In all aspects, I'm not shut away
yeah.
in an office somewhere, not being able to interface with people.
Yeah.
I get to see every member of my community all the time. Come in and in a really casual sense too, because they're having drinks.
Sure.
So, or just going out to eat with
the family.
A
drunk woman's thoughts are sober. Words are a sober woman's thoughts, right?
Absolutely. And I've
a drunk man's thoughts just proves he's an asshole.
Well, usually, I mean, but no, and then you really do, you wonder yourself, am I actually making an impact in these people's lives, right?
Yeah.
And then what was 2017, I started a tradition, and the tradition was invite people to my house, see what sticks, right? So the first year, 2017, I put out the invite to all of everybody at the bar that I knew their name. Over 100 people showed up at my house. I was not ready. I underfed. I had to spend
Sam. What?
Wow. I had to spend $600 on pizza. It was a nightmare, but it was great. Everyone was just like, "Oh, this is where you live," and it's like, wow, I actually can't believe that you. I thought we had a great relationship, out here in the community. I thought we both were active members of our community that we love. I did not think you would actually show up to my house off of a flippant invite that I gave you while you're sitting there getting drunk. And then all these people did. They came in. I felt like immeasurable love.
Right.
You know what I mean? I felt amazing about it, and just reinforced everything that I thought I loved about the industry that I'm in. And that's
3 days later, they get home from work and everything's gone in the house.
Oh yeah. No. A couple of them were definitely casing the place.
That's right. That's right.
Say if I didn't see a couple people jump in an Uber with a plate of food, but
that's right. Hey, let's go up to Lisa. Sorry, Shane. I'll get back to that because that is a great story. Lisa says, instead of wish they were here, you can just say thank you for your time in my life. That expresses love to them and changes the body response to gratitude instead of sadness. Yeah, I agree with that. Shane is like, Pete talking about stepping over a body in his kitchen is how I remember the guy I never met. Truly, one of the funniest stories still today in my life that anybody has ever told. And the best is if you're, and I can still see his body language, his mannerisms in the middle of the night as he's stepping over this dead body and looks at it. And then thinks to himself, that shit better not be here in the morning. And then he just goes back to bed. It's so brilliant and funny. And please, FBI, all the listening bots out there, there was never a dead body. It was a story. And we're not talking about murder here today. I'm sorry.
Natural
causes. I missed the very beginning. What do you do and where do you live? Yeah. Oh. Don't give the actual address, but yeah.
Yeah, no. So what you're going to want to do is take a left. No. For me, I've always run and worked in bars and restaurants. So I told the story the other day. When I was 17 years old, I would run the numbers and do the books for my dad's bar. And from the time I was 5 years old, Christmas Eve, we would make a run through the bar, and all these old men sitting there drinking their Millers and their old styles, of course, because that's the old Chicago flag. You know what I mean? And they would all slip me 20s, and I was just like, what? Like, I'm like 5.
Thank you, Santa.
I just made like $200 walking in a circle around the bar because all these people were like, "Yeah, come on, Junior."
Stevie, hey.
And then out of college, I went and worked for a large banking company downtown Chicago, 46th floor, looking directly down into Soldier Field.
It's got a blue stop signish type thing.
And I was, it is what it is. Could have been anything.
The stop sign should have given us both anyway.
I feel like, but I had thought to myself, like, this is a big boy job. This is the job that a big boy has. Like, I was 21 years old. I literally just turned 21.
Wolf of Wall Street. Here we go.
I actually had to wait after they offered me the job because I wasn't old enough to be licensed for the job until I turned 21. And then I turned 21, got the job, and I was just like, I was the only person I knew. Everybody else is like, I'm taking a couple summers off and, doing all these other things. And I was like,
I got a real job.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy. Like, I travel, I put on a suit and travel to the city every day. Like, this is wild. And I hated the job. I loved walking through the streets of Chicago in my suit,
Oh yeah,
like saying hi to people,
Hey,
like walking with that
important.
swagger,
I'm important.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that part of it, but the job itself, I absolutely detested. And I live not too far from the studio here, so I'm unincorporated McHenry, Crystal Lake area.
Eric Bam, good morning, sir. Says, I'm so excited for Pizza Friday that I'm wearing bedazzled pants. Here's the best thing about those bedazzled pants, Eric. I'm going to ask, did your beautiful wife, is that what she really caught her eye, was the bedazzled pants? And do you now have matching bedazzled pants with that beautiful bride of yours? Let me know. That's how Eric got to where he is. Bedazzled pants.
Well, yeah.
Simple.
It's first step bedazzled pants, second step success.
Yeah. I was a banker following the family for a few years young. I hated it, Lisa says. And you were just talking about where you live. So I asked, I'm not going to stalk you. She has been stalking you.
Yeah.
Obviously you're not that interesting, so she's stopping.
I have nothing set to private on social media. You'll have all that information in seconds.
I don't either. I always, my wife locks the doors at night, and I'm like, I don't know why you do that.
Yeah,
and that's who I am. Like, whatever, come on in.
And I choose to believe in the goodness of people too.
Yeah. And Shayna says, never underestimate bedazzled pants.
No, you can't. I mean, if there's one takeaway from today's episode, that's what we should take away. I think it's like a central theme.
Yeah. Eric says, hot smoking was drawn to my bedazzled pants like a hungry fat kid to cake. Amen. I don't talk, man. I could have given birth to. Yeah, right. I love it. Yeah, just a baby. He's just a baby. Do you ever at a young age, right? You're a kid to me still, right?
Yeah.
At a young age, do your peers do? And it's tough for you because you're being the guy in the bar industry. You probably have friends from my age to 18, right? I mean, that's just getting to know you. That's who you are. But do you have like your peers, people around your age go, man, you guys, your wife owns a business, you're a solopreneur, so I mean, people go, man, you got this. I gotta go to work every day. You got this, man.
Yeah.
You're so lucky. Right?
Yeah. You know what? It's my connections, and then I interview well, so I've always been able to like get jobs where people are like, that's crazy. And then when we bought the bar in Crystal Lake, people would come in and they'd be like, oh, you know, what are you doing here? And it's like, well, we own the place. And these people I went to high school with, we were like, oh, that's nuts. Like, what are you kidding me?
Boy,
like that's wild. But and we do just because of a lot of our friends are also professionals.
Yeah.
Like they also have those jobs. But when I do hang out with other bartenders and other people in the bar industry, they do kind of look at my life, and I always tell them it's nothing. It's not, to me, it just is what it is. Like, it's not anything overly impressive. You'll be there. If that was your goal, it doesn't seem like that's your goal, is to have what I have. If it was, then you would have it. Like, you're a very smart, capable person. You could also do this. Just seems like you had a different goal, which is also fine. But it is weird because I do, and I understand it, because for me, it's the same way as for you. So if I look at somebody and they're 18 years old, I do feel that way as well, where it's like, well, you're an actual kid. I'll never forget the first time when we bought our bar, we hired a bar back, and we had all been reflecting on 9/11, and he was like, well, I wasn't born. And I was like, wait, what? And like, my mind exploded. Right. And I was just like, wow. And I think that was the first time I actually felt like a real adult compared to the people around me. I was like, you weren't born during 9/11? Like, and I was just like fireworks in my brain. But yeah, and then I've made friends with the I've made friends that are 70. You go over there, have a beer in the garage with them while they're doing their woodworking.
Now, we've got about 20 minutes left. Now I'm gonna spin it this way. Shana says, hey Eric, in the sun they probably blinded her, the bedazzled pants. But it depends how many bedazzle. I mean, is it just on the rear pocket, or are you running it on the inseam and outseam of the leg? I don't know, right?
I'm, you know what? Not in this case. Not in this case. I'm thinking full bedazzle.
You're going full on.
Yeah, I think full bedazzle.
Yeah. All right. Like a good like a nice bedazzled outfit for the Oscars.
Right. Yeah. Like those pants are made out of rhinestone.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. Like a rhinestone cowboy. Always a good song. Now, how did you get to where you were at? Look at everything that's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the other direction my mind went with this. There's a lot of dumb shit happening in the world with a lot of people, a lot of young people, a lot of old people, that you just sit there and go, how the hell did we get here? Right?
Yeah.
And I scratch my head because at Americans, I listen, not at the world, at Americans. I can only speak for Americans because I'm an American. I've never been outside of America. Right. So I'm a caged animal. So our friends across the globe, Gary in Singapore, I'm not speaking about you. What I'm speaking about is I'm taking a look at this great nation and going, how did we get here? But literally, I go back to my freshman year in high school and take a look at the history book now that's written.
Yeah.
Right. The chapters that came after I graduated.
Yeah.
And go, how in the great name of Gonzo did we get here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. No, I mean, like you're talking in a very generalized sense. How did we get where we are?
Yeah.
It all started with the Industrial Revolution.
That's right. When a man and a woman love each other. Yeah, no, and I'm not even saying necessarily all the bad, goofy shit. Yeah. I mean, there's some great stuff, literally,
100%,
right? Whether you like them or not, there's actually cars that drive themselves. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of cool to me. Right?
We used to dream about that.
We thought the year 2000 back in the 70s, and we probably did a time capsule at the elementary school in Fowler, Michigan. Hey, we'll dig this up in the year 2000. Yeah. We probably had flying cars and robots and
right.
And weird things. Probably never had a she-male, but I'm it just. You take a look at the advancements in medicine, the advancements in psychology. Are we smarter? Are we dumber? You take a look at, the decline of common sense in America. my gosh, why does it cost $8 for 12 eggs? You're looking at things like, man, so there, that's another thing, how did we get here, right? And there's a lot of dominoes that have fallen that I didn't know were set up and things, right? And just as a society, right? How do we, and I imagine my grandparents, rest in paradise, probably all said the same thing, when I was in high school. How did we get here?
Oh yeah. They were watching you listen to the music you listen to. They're like, how did we get to this point? Like,
on Monday mornings at 7:30, Mike and Fran Unrehearsed is a show on 216 The Net, our radio side of things, and Fran is 96 years old.
Oh wow!
Right?
Okay.
She's the oldest podcast host with a weekly show in the world. Right.
That's awesome.
And it's a cool show. She's funny like Betty White because there's no filter. I mean, this lady is
what does she have to filter anymore?
Right?
Yeah.
This lady is 96, and literally she remembers when, you had to put wood in the stove to heat up dinner.
Yeah. That's wild.
And so you kind of sit here and go, the things that she's seen, when you had to get out and crank the car to start it.
Yeah.
And now the damn thing drives itself. So when you take a look at the eyes of other people, and you're like, oh, she probably like, how, I don't understand how we got here either.
Yeah. I mean, I already think that, like, in my own life, I think about it just within the time frame that I've been alive. I can't imagine to be 90 years old and thinking through that time frame. That's crazy.
Yeah. Lisa says the line for brain cells and common sense was too long, so many just skipped it. I'm not going to wait here for that. Let me go to the next door. Many advancements, but also not saying don't eat a battery. So it's both sides of the spectrum. Yes. And Shayna says They Live is an old movie where a dude finds glasses that see through aliens' masks. Oh, have you heard about the new, very rare demon face syndrome? No, I haven't. Let's talk about it. I'm trying not to connect the dots. No, the demon face syndrome.
Yeah,
you've heard of this.
People are, and I having never known somebody personally and having never seen an actual full documentary on this, I've always assumed they're just taking acid. That's been my interpretation of it. I mean, I'm sure they're not. I just never have gotten that far into it. But yeah, people who are saying that they're looking at certain people and they either see a demonic aura or they actually see a different image than what the person sees when they look in the mirror. So they look at you, for instance, and they see you with a distorted face.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's probably horrifying for them.
Could be horrifying. Yeah, it could be horrifying. When I say cool, I mean fascinating. It's like, but I grew up and you said, man, that's gay. It was just kind of, man, that's stupid, right?
Alan Tudyk is in a show, really good show called Resident Alien.
Oh, is that good? I've looked at it but passed over. But it's good.
It's stupid and hysterical. Like, nice. Alan Tudyk, he's a great actor.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know him personally.
So he's got a biofilter on to look like Alan Tudyk instead of like the alien that he is. And there's one kid in town that has that exact problem. He can see right through it.
Oh,
and he sees this demonic blue thing every time he sees him. Freaks out, screams, runs away. Everyone thinks the kid's going crazy.
I think my dad's going crazy. Notice how Kent has an example. Notice how he uses. Oh, Kent as an example. Yeah, no, I'm an easy target. I'm an easy target. But I think, as we take a look at it, sometimes we reflect maybe too much on our path, and we don't get to take a look at the woods or the surroundings as we go. How did I get here? Right. Yeah. My path is very narrow. Right. But if you take a look out into the woods, I've got a lot of gnomes and fairies and animals and Bigfoot's watching me, and you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot going on that have kept me on the path, right? So I heard a twig snap while I'm on that path, and whoop, Yeah, move a little faster through here. I don't know what that was, but something of that nature. Yeah. And retrospectively taking a look at it and going, well, maybe I should have gone and adventured into the woods for a little bit to see what that was. And that's that what if syndrome, right?
Yeah.
And questioning. And I try not to. Hold on. Let's do this.
What do we got?
Hi, you're live on the air. This is The Grounds. You're live with Steve and Kent. Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
We are terrific. What's the good word? How did you get to where you're at, Coach?
How did I get in my car?
Yeah, I guess. If that's where you're at, yeah.
Just hard work and consistency, brother.
That's
how you got where he's at. Just living in the car.
Head down and grind, and he's living in a car now.
Yeah.
Grandfather.
Doesn't always work out, guys.
Hey, I've got about 10 more minutes on the show, and I'll give you a call. Unless you got something to add.
Well, I've always got something to add. But I got some good news about the Roger That Chronicles. So
awesome.
We'll talk about that. Scott, making a great day.
Well, it's Steve. Scott's AOL
Steve.
Today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Steve.
Or MIA. AOL. He's now on internet.
Yeah, he's America Online.
Yeah, I don't know. He's MIA. AWOL. Anyway, all right, I'll give you a call.
Bye.
So that's a great thing. I'm glad Coach dropped in. Roger That Chronicles is reformatting. Roger That Chronicles is going to be coming back with a little different format and a couple different veterans, and it's really, really cool. But Roger That Chronicles, a show for veterans by veterans.
Nice.
To talk about veterans, get those old stories, the Chronicles.
Is that Coach from Two Bald Guys and a Microphone?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep. Of course, a retired Army guy, right? So that means he did 30 years in the Army. So, Roger That Chronicles. Drew says absolutely love that show. And let's see. Lisa says the world would be a different place if everyone could see behind the mask. Everyone wears one to the public in some form. Lisa, Jesus fucking Christ. Everything doesn't have to be a psychological blue. I love you, Lisa. I say that because she's here and she can't hit me right now. Sunday morning, she might.
She's not wrong though.
No, she's not.
She's not. Everyone's like, you act so weird when you're alone. Like everybody acts really weird when they're alone. I think we act weird in public. We go out into public and we put ourselves in this weird box and we interact like we're training our brains to act in a certain way, totally against our normal. When you're home alone in your house, you're dancing in your underwear, you're singing badly, like you're doing all sorts of things you wouldn't do in public.
Yeah. It's wild when you think one decision can set you in a new direction, good or bad. Yeah. When my kids were little, Colette was still in a backpack. Colette is 21 now, so she was 2 years old, maybe. So it's about 2004, and we love the Upper Peninsula. We got family there. We go there once a year. And there's a place called Racehorse Rapids, and it's really cool. The water is rust because of all the iron up there, iron ore and whatnot. And we're hiking, and the Spencer and Ashley are going on the trail. I've got Colette in the backpack. And I'm talking to my kids. I'm like, listen, do you want to change the world? I go, here's how you change the world. Let's pick up a rock and throw it in that water. And they look at me. I go, because that river will never flow the same way once you throw that rock in there. Right? Which that means it changes the dynamic of the entire earth.
Yeah.
Right. And so we picked up, we each got a pretty good sized rock, and we throw it in there.
Yeah.
Right. And Spence is a brilliant kid, and he looks at me and goes, it doesn't look different. I go, I know it doesn't look different, but trust me, it's different.
Yeah.
Because it has to flow around that rock now, and you can't see the change that you've made, but you've made one. Right. So the idea of that one decision
that
is that rock.
Yeah.
Right. We make that one decision, Shayna, and the water doesn't seem to appear to be different, but everything's different. Everything's different.
Yeah.
Right. And it's when we don't think of the difference that we've just made.
Yeah.
Right. I've said it on the bridge, is the starfish, the kid who's, you can't save them all. I saved that one.
Right.
So ROI, ripples on impact. I love it. Yep. Don't pick on Lisa. She's awesome. I know. And I'm scared that I said that, and I'm afraid now. Kick his ass, Drew. He read it 15 minutes after the convo about demon masks. Slow down, people. And a worker on the Titanic saw a cat removing her kittens before sailing and decided not to board. One choice. Yeah, right. And that's the T-shirt. Ripples on impact. That's it. ROI, ripples on impact. And that to me, right? And there's so many stories. You take a look at, you brought up 9/11, you take a look at, I lost my keys.
Yep.
So I was 20 minutes late, and thank God I was. My car wouldn't start, or I stopped to get donuts for the team. There's all of these one choices.
Right. One choice that changes your whole life. Yeah.
That changes the direction of the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a dropping an atom bomb on Hiroshima, as I learned it, not Hiroshima now. Also, it was Uranus, not Uranus. So anyway,
it's very true.
There's some decisions, right?
No, small decisions count just as much as the big ones in a lot of cases. I mean, not comparatively against, dropping a nuclear warhead on Hiroshima, but but it's you throwing the rock into the river might not have that impact, but it does still change the world in its own way.
So like everything that's going on across campuses today, right? Is I from an outside perspective can look at it and go, boy, these decisions that you're making at 18 and 19 and 20 years old, changing a lot of things, but how does your river run 15 years from now? Yeah. But at the same time, Drew and I, at the same time, you turn on the radio and it's like, people can't get into O'Hara. There's so many people protesting and people have to walk in. Drew and I went there twice during that, and we didn't see one person. The only person we saw with a sign is, "Hey, I'm a homeless veteran.
Right?
Can you help me out?"
Absolutely.
Right. And I think, in the flow feels different. It does. Right. If you make that one choice, it does. But maybe not to Steve's stream, or Steve's stream doesn't recognize that change in flow,
right? Because doesn't alter it,
right? We still see the water rushing over the top, but the water underneath is different,
more tumultuous.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So as I look at those things, people always ask. I've been blessed to be a guest on other people's podcasts, and they talk about 216 creator studios, and I'm like, listen, our whole goal, our whole onset of this journey was to change the world one listener at a time, not to change a listener.
So the starfish works,
right?
It changed the world one listener at a time,
right?
Absolutely.
But understand what I'm saying is a lot of people try to change a person,
right?
We're not trying to change a person. We're trying to change the world.
Right.
One listener at a time, right? So that's why you get irritated with people. But you got a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, whoa, hey, whoa.
Absolutely.
Now I'm the guy's like, yeah, come on, let's go. I'll challenge anything. Let's go. Right.
But there's one thing I can give it up for, not only this specific show, but the entire channel of 216.
Yeah.
Is that I do think the positivity does bring something extra into the world.
Yeah.
It does. You're putting that out into the world, and everybody who receives it is going on to share that. It is the ripple effect. You're throwing a stone in the river, right? And it's rippling outward, but with the positivity, you're talking about positive things. You're making a positive side notes. Everything is about positivity and how to change your mindset. And I think that's fantastic.
Those I agree, Shana. The students don't know the level of manipulation. Oh, so it's too easy for the identity. It's so true. My struggle with value of the current protests is the media BS and will as people protesting because it's popular it's popular thing, right? No beliefs, no. Oh, and most of them don't. Right. And most of them, if they anyway, we won't get into it. Listen, this is how we've gotten to where we're at today. Next week, right, we are going to be talking about, should we be scared of AI?
Everybody needs to be here for this one because that's going to be hysterical.
Should we be scared of AI, artificial intelligence? And by you guys tuning in weekly, it's obvious that you're not. Because mine is artificial. And then we're the use of technology in the modern world. So hopefully this AI thing turns a little bit, but then we're going to talk about the use of technology in the modern world.
Yeah.
Right. And then on the 25th, we're going to do 20 questions where it's just going to be rapid fire. You got 30 seconds to a minute to answer the question. We don't know what the questions are going to be.
Nice.
And in June 1st, we're going to, and I think it's June 1st. I don't know. Maybe it's June 2nd. Maybe I have the dates wrong, but the first one in first Friday in June. Do humans think deeply anymore? Is there such a thing as critical thinking?
Oh, yeah, I think between the common sense lines.
In the second week of June, this is one I like. We brought it up a little bit here. Did the cartoons from your childhood shape your narrative?
Yeah.
Did the cartoons from your childhood shape your narrative? The middle of June, what are your biggest distractions? Is it yourself? Right?
That one's going to get uncomfortable.
That one, yeah. It's gonna be good. So we got a lot of good things coming up. We've got we're wide open today until even though with Steph and Joe, where they're talking about job ads as advertised ? So in other words, have you taken a job, got there and go, this isn't what I signed up for? So we're looking for some great funny stories. It's going to be a great show.
What
Digital
time
Boss.
is that?
That's at 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah. So next week, of course, we'll have The Bridge. We'll have Digital Boss Boardroom. We'll have In Low Steph and Joe, The Grounds again. And we're going to be doing some adjustments to our Friday lineup where we are bringing back What's in Your Loaf? We Rise Again. What's in Your Loaf 2? We Rise Again. And that will come with a hard disclaimer that it will offend people. It will, if you have a child, you probably take that off. But this is going to be a show like what Pete and I did, where basically we make fun of people.
Okay.
And idiocracies, like perhaps these protests, like perhaps felons that run for anyway. Anyway,
what time is that?
Yeah, that one will probably be at the 9:30 mark or 10 on a Friday morning.
Okay.
And it's going to be awesome, right? We don't know if it's going to be live or Memorex. Right. So
probably not great live, but
right. But maybe because of input. And again, as Coach pointed out with his call in, Roger That Chronicles is being reformatted, restructured. It's coming back. It's going to be killer. It's going to be awesome. And then we just got great shows this Sunday morning. We have Lisa living outside the box. I don't even know what is the topic, Lisa? Do you have one, or are we just running off the cuff? Do's and weather manipulation with solar waves should be fun. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah.
I got to research. Shane always gives me things to look at. Got to do homework. Listen, we got to run. But for everybody here at 216 Creator Studios, if not you, who, Lisa says, tune in on Sunday morning at 9. If not you, who? Listen, we got to run. Thanks for joining us here at 216 Creator Studios. Thanks to our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness. Thanks to our friends at JH Events and Flowers for all the support, love. Give them support, love, and visit them locally. So until we meet again, be good, but more importantly, be good to one another.